Welcome back. We are here for the Between Secrets in Lavender, episode 10. We are unfortunately having to say goodbye to Jai because their player unfortunately had to bow out of the series, but wish Jazzy well. But we're going to kind of resolve the Fox's exit in a little bit of a prologue scene beforehand, before we enter into night phase for this particular episode. So I think when we last left off Jai, I think she was in the sewers of Miswell Hill and searching out for the source of the pollution. She was searching out the source of the sewers and kind of playing in the muck a bit and hearing a poem and also getting so engaged with it in her search and her investigation that she did not notice something approaching or someone approaching. And I think when she finally comes out of her reverie, I think she sees the shadow on the wall and a boot steps into the muck and the very squelchy muck of this particular area and picks up one of the weird fishes that's in here as well. And as the fish is lifted up into the air to this person's contemplation, we hear someone say, "Have you ever really thought about the origin of power? Power comes from within and without, and some know how to control it with the finesse of a song, and others wield it like an axe." And as this is said, a light appears, almost like a glow, and the fish is brightened, and we can see the features of Madelancholy as he contemplates the fish and looks at Jai. And Jai looks at him wonderingly and asks what he is doing there. And he says, "I have watched, I've waited, and I have also talked to, or I wanted to talk to your paramour, but with your permission, because I have something to offer you." And he tosses the fish aside and will present a globe that shows a beautiful forest. Something that looks quite similar to something that Jai had mentioned. In fact, it looks quite similar to something painted on a fan in Nora's room, but more beautiful, more verdant, more alive than can ever be existing in this world. And Madelancholy says, "It is this. I can give you passage back. We can give you passage back if you will go and stay safe and give me permission to pay court to Nora." And we don't hear Jai's answer as we fade to black and go into night phase. As a reminder, tarot card reading of Ms. Lydia Wainwright. Lydia Wainwright is a young woman of 19, born into a respectable family. Her mother has commanded her to marry Edgar Thornton, the son of a wealthy industrialist, but her heart belongs to Samuel, a poor but very handsome chimney sweep. Lydia has snuck off in the night to the home of a fortune teller seeking guidance on the matter. Just before we enter fully into it, I want to know how everyone is dressed and what they are doing to arm themselves to get ready to tackle the Lurker.
Street clothes, maybe a leather vest, but otherwise very casual.
Dark colors, black coat, mostly closed up, a cane. Since it's night, I don't need the parasol. I think Mordecai has a bag with him containing unguents and what else do you need to go hunting a vampire? I think he also carries some sort of weapon that has prop with him, because you can't be too careful, right, with these vampire things. Yeah, he does not carry a stake or anything like that. That's boring. And that's mundane. And I think what else will he have? Yes, he will have a very pretty scarf, dark blue, like some kind of accent, and also to hide his neck. And also, Felix might think that it looks a little familiar.
I see you.
Oh,
I was
boy.
looking for my own clothes in your room, and I saw this, so I thought it suits me better than you. It's boring for you. It's right my style. So
It
I
suits
saved you.
It fits you rather well. You may
I
keep
know.
it.
Thank you.
Yikes. Uh, Ellie is dressed pretty much as usual. Her long black coat, uh, boots. She's gonna have to scrub her nice fancy boots after this probably, but she's no stranger to that. She's done it before. Um, Carrying a pistol, which she doesn't usually do. Uh, big heavy revolver and a substantial Bowie knife. That's opposite hips.
Okay.
Forgot to mention I have Judith's knife from my collection. So
You have
that will
what?
be my Judith's knife.
Oh,
That from the collection. That
got
was
it.
my first item. I carry it.
Nice. Okay, great. And Lansing has the um, kerosene container, as well as his kosh in that wonderful pocket in the pants that conveniently has the pants pocket, you know, and of course, like, you know, the lighters and matches and all that kind of stuff to help with the kerosene. So, and he kind of like his eyes widen when he sees that Bowie knife at your hip and the pistol at your opposite hip, Ellie. It's like, and you've had call to use those.
I have.
Huh.
America is a very different place than London.
I imagine so. And he kind of like, you know, just unconsciously like touches the kosh with his hand. Yeah. So, and he's wearing the of course the 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 fine coat worthy of a detective inspector, and then of course the like, you know, just the finer clothing, like the shirt and the trousers and the boots that you have in your quarters that just happen to fit him, Felix. So, and he's cutting a fine figure with them. So, yeah. I think he even found a hat that he could use with them. Not a detective inspector's hat or whatever, but I mean, like, you
Just
know,
a nice hat.
just a nice hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, to cover his head. And yeah, I think Nora will. You know, she's brought. She's like ordered a carriage round to help bring you to where you guys need to go. But I think as you are getting ready to enter into the carriage, um, I want to know in what order are you getting into the carriage?
Me first, obviously.
Of course.
Of course you are. Yeah.
And I imagine that both Mordecai and Lansing will let Ellie get on first, because that's how it's done.
Right.
I
Right.
could hop up next to the driver, but with two gentlemen deferring to me, I'll enter the carriage.
I think, like Lansing will kind of stare at you, Mordecai. After you.
I think not.
I see. And just as he says that, and like you hear, it's like, Detective Inspector, and it's that wonderful constable friend of yours, Felix.
Constable Short.
And he kind of like rocks up and it's like, didn't expect you to see you here, sir. And then he takes another look, and he double takes. You? Yes? You raised your hand,
no,
Ellie?
sorry. Sorry. that was gesture recognition that I was not intending.
Oh, okay.
That was the best. Like I was like, oh my god, there's somebody that's objecting or something like that. That's great. No, it would have been perfect. But anyway, okay. Trying to hold it now. And he just does double take and just like, Lansing? And he just kind of like, he doesn't really like look, but he just kind of like grunts over his shoulder. On a spot of business short. And he'll just jump into the carriage. Mordecai, you are staring at the little constable Short. And he just looks at you and says, what the devil's going on?
As you were, Constable. And then I enter the coach and close the door.
And you just see, if you look outside the carriage in any of the windows, you just see him like dumbfounded, like,
I in the window, I just wave at him as we leave.
Yep, for sure. Okay. So, paint the scene. As Lydia enters the home of the fortune teller, what do we see that shows this place has real magic? Now remember, the reason that you're doing the unseen is to give sensory detail, to give thematic weight to something that is across town, having nothing to do with the hunters, that you can use to reflect and echo what's going on in the hunting scenes. So please feel free and fill in the cells, so this way you can remind yourselves what you said. What do we see that shows this place has real magic?
I think what we see, what Lydia might not see or might discount, the shadows are darker than they should be. And there's something moving, which you can somehow intuit. You can't see it clearly because it's dark, but there is something moving there. It's unclear what that is, but there is movement. There's intent in these dark shadows.
There aren't a lot of reflective surfaces, but there are a few small mirror, the polished glass covering a painting, things like that. But one thing that is true of all the reflections is that they are not quite the same as the person being reflected. There's always some little difference, whether it's a more gaunt and cavernous and ill look for some people, or uh, a literal flame of anger behind the eyes, or something else that reflects a reality beyond what is mundanely visible.
I think that as Lydia walks into this place, she finds that despite never having been here before, everything feels perfectly familiar. The temperature is just right. The sounds of the city have fallen away. The seat that she sits in is perfectly comfortable. She feels the table and senses it's the same table that she's been at for years. The place shapes itself around what would be most comfortable to the person who is being welcomed in.
Awesome. All right. So, you just gonna go ahead and time jump your way into the hallways slash how do we say the approach looks? I want to like a little paint the scene on this. Do we imagine that they're actual built hallways leading to like ruinous caverns to the abandoned and desecrated chapel? Like something that's been lost? Or there's somehow some kind of maintaining that's been happening? What do we think this place looks like as you traverse to get to the nest?
I think these are the old streets. Literally, the streets, the current street level is built up above where the old street level was, and so the flagstones of the pavement are still visible here. There's dirt and muck have drifted in over the ages, but there's a pathway that has through it that has been kept either scraped or simply worn away by regular passage. And while the walls of this are partly dirt and debris, there are also bits of other building facades still visible in those walls.
It's sort of like a darker echo of the streets above. It's oddly familiar, especially for a beat cop like Lansing. These are like the streets he walks, but aren't necessarily the same. I imagine that it's probably warm down here just from the heat of the city and bellows and everything. It's it's cloying because we're kind of squeezing here in the underground of London, but at the same time, it's more comfortable than the wet, the cold of the city above.
I think you would expect here rats and other vermin, right? But the only thing you will see are scarabs, weirdly enough, because they don't actually belong in London, scarabs, but you know, Mordecai will mutter something in Akkadian when he sees them and refuse to explain.
So, once it gets to passageways that are like a little bit tighter, what's the formation? Who's going first and who's watching the rear?
I don't mind taking point. I don't mind bringing up the rear. Uh,
I
what
will
a
not take point, but because that would not make sense.
no.
I'll be in the middle.
I'll take point.
Okay, so Ellie and I'm sure like Constable Lansing is at your side.
Felix and then Mordecai.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as you traverse, you get like a little bit closer. Maybe it starts to feel like a little bit more cloying, like a little bit more humid down here as you get closer. The darkness seems to like swell. Like it gets darker and more suffocating. You start to hear something in the distance, or further down, I should say, as like it gets more like, you know, close, and you hear crying. And then Constable Lansing's like, "What's that? It sounds like a child."
Could be a trap.
Quite certainly is.
What Ellie is not saying to Lansing is, it may be a trap that is baited with an actual child in danger. Ellie's not mentioning that because if she does, he's going to go charging ahead, and that would be bad.
Bless this guy who just wants to do the right thing.
We're all here to do the right thing, aren't we?
But, you know, so, I mean, and then, you know, you see the signals, or like, you know, he kind of looks like like sidelong at you to see what you're going to do. I mean, you know, if you're not gonna move ahead,
I'm
going
gonna
to
pick up the pace.
Yeah, like he'll move with
Still
you.
moving quietly.
Yeah, but he'll move with you. Like literally, he's going to, like, you know, take your cue, and he's going to keep the kerosene close, of course. But I mean, he's also going to like have the kosh ready. So, yeah. And then I think at the end of that particular hallway, like where it kind of widens up a bit, I think you're going to see like there's a, imagine like a little bit of like phosphorescence. Like it could be like from a dim lantern light, or like mist because of the humidity in this particular place, or it could be some weird ass moss, who the hell knows. But you see it coming from behind, you know, like further along, and in front of that phosphorescence you see like the outline of like what looks like a little child, and their shoulders are shaking, and they're holding something, and they look like they're kind of like hunched over, and you hear, "Mommy, I need my mommy. Where's my mommy?" And what do you do?
I'm moving forward, but my knife is in my hand at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Which may alarm Lansing. I don't know.
I mean, he's not even looking. He's not even looking at you. He's like, you know, staring now at the child.
That
And
may
he's
be the vampire Lansing. Or yeah, I would say Constable at this point because I'm not using his first name in front of others. You don't get to know it.
right.
But
I mean, like, but is that what you're whispering to him?
Yes.
And he says, "I know. No child of Limehouse cries." As he like kind of like does this weird flourish with the kosh, as like he's ready to beat the shit out of the thing.
Oh, good.
No, I mean, like he literally says
good.
that. And yeah.
What are you doing down here, kid?
Looking for my mommy.
Your mommy's not down here. I don't think you've seen your mommy in a long time.
Will you be my
mommy? No.
You should have left her well enough alone. And night move.
Okay. Fortunately, I'm guessing this is probably with vitality?
Of course.
Yes. So I get to actually roll with advantage. Fortunately, this is why I'm taking point.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
11.
Okay. I'm dumb. I forgot to totally ask you like what could go wrong. What could go
Oh,
wrong if
yeah,
you
yeah.
lose your
Oh.
nerve. All right. All dangerous and shit. Yeah, because basically the vampire was going to like pretty much. Well, actually, no. It was going to leap at Lansing as like the easier target.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I
It's
think it
it's
was
savvy it's savvy enough to
yeah
recognize
yeah
that, but
right. And I'm going to ask you, since you have an 11, did you want to do anything with that, or did you want to leave it at 11? You don't have to do anything with it. I'm just asking.
I think I'm gonna leave it at 11.
Okay, no problem. All right. So describe what you do as the vampire moves incredibly fast. In fact, you're not even sure whether it remained as the child form or if it morphed into like that gaseous slash like bubbling blood cloud that it's been seen as before it turned back into the child form and literally like tried to tackle you and tried to go for your throat. So um,
Um, Ellie moves nearly as fast, uh, with surprising speed, bringing the knife up so that it is charging directly into the blade,
mm,
and it sinks into the center of the body, sort
mm.
of up under the sternum. As I brace for the impact and remain on my feet.
Yeah, I mean, like it's very light in comparison because I mean, obviously it's got the child's body, so it's not as big of a mass as you expect, but it's so close that you hear that very unnatural screech, like practically in your ear, and it's like it's almost deafening, and you hear Lansing screaming like next to you. It's like throw it clear so I can pour, like and like he's like saying kerosene like it's like it's a big mess of words. So yeah, yeah, and then Sabine. The first two cards drawn in the 5-card spread are the
Oh.
Lovers and the Ace of Wands, the latter of which is typically associated with passion. Speaking in the voice of the fortune teller, begin telling Lydia what you see in the cards.
My tarot game is not that good.
Make it up.
But
You don't have to.
I
You
will
don't have
make it
to
up.
say the truth.
Yes, I think the old woman will stare at Lydia and say, "Well then, child, I see the Lovers, which means that you have love in your heart, do you not? But also see the Ace of Wands, which means there is much barring your way. You cannot easily move to the place where you want to go. You have to be more clever, more ruthless, and you will need help. You will not do this alone. Do this with your lover, and you may yet prevail, but it will not be easy."
So, coming back to the scene, it's like you literally see this vampire, like, stuck on the blade, like, practically, like, hunched and leaning over Ellie and screeching in her ear. And Lansing's, like, trying to get clear. Well, I mean, he doesn't have a clear view to uh, to do anything with the kerosene or his kosh. So he's trying to yell at her to throw it clear. What are Mordecai and uh, Felix doing?
Mordecai is calling the spirits to trap the vampire in this place so we can take it down and burn it, maybe, or not.
Okay.
I mean, that was the plan, wasn't it?
Yes, I would imagine so.
Felix is going to agitate it by taunting it in ancient Sumerian.
Oh wow!
Oh,
That's
you know
fun.
Sumerian.
Oh no!
Just
God
because I
damn
can't
it.
read it doesn't mean that I can't speak it.
Oh, god damn it. It's similar to Acadian. Mordecai realizes this. Damn it.
But yes, is this what you've been reduced to? Trying to suckle little bits of life into a too small form, magnificent power brought low, scrabbling about in the dark. You were once glorious, kingly even.
You can see that I mean, like, even though it's skewered on her knife and like practically on top of her, it it kind of like does this weird like kind of spider like motion where it kind of like lifts up its head, and then like the rest of its limbs, like the arms and legs, are just kind of like trying to almost like kind of grab at you, even like while it's like kind of like just hanging there suspended in midair, and like the fangs start to grow longer, even as they're dripping saliva and possibly like blood from somewhere else or somebody else, and it's like, how dare you, you insolent cur, and just basically swearing at you and calling you all the fun like ancient names, like ancient insulty names.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah,
We're having an insult duel in a language that no one else understands.
of course, absolutely. And just saying, I am glorious. I move in the shadows while you preen and post is this human meat sack. And the tongue is just like just really long and black looking and just kind of like curls and twists in the air.
I'm going to continue to try and goad it. Maybe that can act as a distraction, so Ellie can parlay it into being controlled by Mordecai's entities, and then give Lansing a clear shot. I don't know if you want a roll or anything.
I mean, not unless you're like activating a particular move or what have you. But Mordecai, it's like what you're activating Beacon in the Dark. I mean, not Beacon in the Dark. The Rite of Salt and Smoke.
Right, I'm invoking the Rise of Salt and Smoke. Yes.
Okay. So you need to do a roll for that.
Yeah. Okay. That's spiritism, sensitivity.
Yes.
Which is +2. Come on, dice, be nice to me. Oh, it's an 11. There we go.
Holy sheep shit! What the fudge? Punch dice, you are being so freaking nice. I swear to God.
That's something's at stake. That's why they are nice. So I'm trapping this creature here.
Okay.
And I don't have a complication.
No, you don't.
Cool.
Yeah. Tell me what this looks like when you activate your magic, and how the trap looks.
I think Mordecai calls those pale spirits that gather around him, through him, first enter him and then exit again after like partaking of sensation and things like that. And something breaks, you don't know what it is, but as they do, you see Mordecai making this slight face. But the spirits go out. They are very, very enthusiastic. They will gather around this room, gather around this vampire, and they will just gather around and just bar it, like wherever when the vampire is hissing at Felix, and the spirits are just somehow slightly in the way. I think the vampire can see them more clearly, maybe, than most other people can, but they are still rather visible. Lansing will see them too.
Yeah, I think basically it's like we start seeing, instead of like trying to grab at Felix, I think the vampire is like starting to do this thing of like grabbing at something. Like maybe we see, well, Lansing as the normie will probably see these like wispy shadow things, but anybody else with preternatural senses probably sees these glowing lights or these glowing tendrils or whatever, and like the vampire is like trying to get out of them because it's like tangled up in this tangle of entities. And Ellie, this is your shot, even as Felix is like gibberishing at them, to throw them clear.
That's my plan. I'm gonna try to fling the thing a
Yep.
little ways down the tunnel.
Yep. And then basically, as you do, I think you have Lansing pretty much like going over to like try to dump the kerosene like on it, like to try to sprinkle the kerosene like on it and around it in in a in a pattern. I think like just a basic pattern to make sure that it's like it's doused. But I think in his scrabbling, in the vampire scrabbling, he manages to knock Lansing off of his feet. So,
Damn it.
and
Okay.
then hold on. Let me get back to the unseen. Gotta make this exciting. Come on now, Kathleen. The next two
Yes.
cards are drawn. Next two cards drawn are the Five of Swords, typically associated with violence, and the Fool, which represents the beginning of a journey. Continue the fortune teller's card reading.
I see the Five of Swords. You see here the Five of Swords. That tells me that no matter your intent, you will be met with opposition. And the only way past that opposition is that you will have to fight. And I don't mean with words. You and whoever has your interests at heart is going to have to fight the forces that oppose your happiness. And once you have completed that step, that's where your journey will begin. The Fool, you see here, stepping off a cliff, smelling a flower. Don't think about the full length of the journey. You can't know what the journey will bring until you begin it. But begin it you must. And that means leaving behind where you have been, what you have been. You must move on.
With an explosive swear, yeah, Constable Lansing is like, on his feet, and the vampire is scrabbling towards him, even with the bindings of the entities on him. I mean, he's trapped, but yeah, he's still somewhat mobile. Yeah.
Felix would like to step forward and just very cleanly and straightforwardly like stab the vampire.
Sure.
Just to pin it in place and give Lansing the time he needs to spread the rest of the kerosene.
Night move, please.
Okay.
What do you think will happen if you fail or lose your nerve?
I think I will be disarmed and placed in a similar situation to Ellie was at the start of the scene, which is worse because I don't have a lot of physique or advantage on my next roll.
Right. So, all right. But I think in the way it's worse is that because you both are within grasp, I think the vampire will take strength from both of you, knowing what that means, and be able to drink from both of you to, well, break out of, try to break out of Mordecai's arcane bonds.
Okay.
Yeah, arcane trap. So, and drinking of you will probably, make it feel so exhilarated.
I wanted so much to say that what I was worried about was that I was going to pick me as the new host, but I figured that was a bridge too far for a single failure. I will mark the small painting of a sea monster layered on driftwood in a religious iconographic style from the Drowned Guardian.
Yeah.
Broke off a piece of it since it is a sacred relic made of wood that would be great as a steak.
Oh my gosh,
Isn't this
amazing.
like a wonderful religious relic? Yeah, but like I use it as a dinner plate and sometimes to kill monsters. Whatever, man.
Okay, sure. Well, you also got that most beloved thing going on, so yes, you probably should use
Okay,
that as
so
your
it's so it's a
canceling out disadvantage
so
and
it's a
shit.
flat roll.
Flat roll with
Okay.
yeah, you're fighting the vampire, so sensitivity, please.
With sensitivity?
Oh, no vitality, no, because I mean, like you're arguing me that you're doing this with
Could
this.
I parlay it into composure because
Oh
I'm
yes.
trying to
Okay.
very coldly,
Yes.
precisely like
Sure.
Okay.
I'll accept that. Yes.
Cool. Normal roll. It's the same for between vitality and composure. 1. That is 7. But I would like to mark the threat mask that we have not used yet.
Ooh. Okay.
The Mask of the Sun.
Okay, threat mask. All right, so that bumps it up to a 10.
Yes.
Okay. So give me a second. Let me bump this up. Good job. All right, so threat mask. Hello.
Because it'd be a shame for us to close out this threat and
Not use
the
it. Yeah, no,
mask.
that would be so terrible. It's like no. Goddamn. Here we go. Mask of the Sun. Okay, so each hunter narrates a dream they once had of a primordial earth, back in time across the ancient seas, back in time when the spirits walked, when the sun was new and the old gods held court. You obviously don't have to do that now, so think on it. But I'm going to put this in there. Give me a
Thank
second.
you.
Yep. So that is the Mask of the Sun. That bumps you to 10, and everybody has to do it, okay? So tell me what happens now that you've succeeded, verily.
I mean, I kind of buckle down, and as Lansing is scrambling to get the kerosene on, Felix goes and places or stabs this stake through the base of the neck and holds it down in place. Take this end. Be free. And he'll kind of shove off from there and give space for Lansing to light this thing on fire and start his journey as a hunter.
And I think that like there's another like preternatural scream as like the fangs like have grown as long as they possibly can, and the thing is like screaming, and you can see it eyeballing you with absolute hate and fury as you do this, for sure. So before we get to the absolute climax of this thing, let's go back to said unseen, Mike, as the last card is drawn. The devil, representing the seduction of the material world and other earthly pleasures. Continue your reading and then tell Lydia definitively what she must do.
The devil. Calm down, dearie. It's not exactly anything like that. You will be faced time and time again with a challenge, with beauty, with physical satisfaction, with a want for more. But as long as you remain true, as long as you face these things together, you and he will be happy. If not happy, at least content. Go after Edgar, dear. Beauty fades, and you have no security in this other young man. But while he may not be everything that you want, this Edgar fellow does care for you, and that love may bloom in time. And you may find that when he is tested, he will rise to the occasion.
And Lansing will actually pour the rest of the kerosene into the vampire's mouth as it's screaming, and then ceremoniously, well, like, with a very neutral face, just light, and like we can see his features, like light the match and drop it right in his mouth. And see a nice little blaze going. I think at that point, Mordecai, your entities let go, and I don't know if they
No, they are not supposed to let go. This is a vampire. It can leave a ghost. They're not supposed to let it go so the vampire can ghost around and mess stuff up.
Okay. All right.
I mean, no.
Okay.
Or maybe I should. No.
No. I mean, like it's
okay.
it's you tell me like what they do. I mean, like even as the flames burn, you tell me what it looks like.
I think they are sticking around, and I mean, there's flames. They burn pretty high, I guess, and pretty bright. There are things moving in those flames, though.
Yeah.
Right. You can't actually intuit what that is, but I think the spirits will capture, and I think it's Mordecai feels this maybe, will capture what is left of this ancient thing and drag it back with them.
And Lansing looks on, like kind of just like rubbing his face, which is like starting to get like dirt stains and everything on it. And it's like, and you do this. You do this for your vocation?
Pardon me. I do this because it needs to be done. Ellie is not turning to look at him. She's just watching the blaze with the flames reflected in her eyes in a way that eyes really shouldn't quite reflect like that. They really shouldn't.
Yeah.
Not human eyes, no.
I think he's kind of contemplating the flames at first, and then he kind of looks at you, and then looks at you again when he realizes like what your eyes are doing, and then he kind of like sidles over to Felix and says, "Should they look like that?"
No, not normally. And Felix will lean in just a little bit and whisper so only they can hear. But don't you think they look beautiful nonetheless?
Yes.
And Felix will turn around. It smells awful in here. Like awful, in fact. Might as well leave. After all, you've taken your first step now. This isn't just her vocation. It's our vocation, Lansing.
I couldn't leave the force. I mean,
who said you had to?
I suppose if you wouldn't mind me helping.
That will not end well for you. You need to make a choice there. You cannot serve the crown and your own interests.
Who do you serve? Who helps this concern? This house that you live in, I suppose.
Felix will go and pick up the heat-treated steak, which I assume is all that really remains of the vampire now, and toss it over to Lansing. Don't know, don't care. We figure it out as we go. Mysterious invitation, grand conspiracies, and the like. At the end of the day, you don't really care. You just want to do the right thing for all those lovely people up on the proper streets of London, don't you?
Too.
That's decision enough.
But now you know who to call. You can call upon us when you encounter something that can't be dealt with by normal means. And you know enough to know that that's a possibility, which few of your fellows do.
True enough. But if I decided to give up the Force, would I be accepted? And his eyes drift over to Mordecai.
Mordecai is currently bandaging one of his fingers that looks like it stands in a weird angle and looks at him and says, well, if you are no longer a lapdog of forces you don't even understand, I might consider that.
This, and he gestures with the steak piece in hand and gestures over at the remains of the fire. This evidently shows I have a lot to learn. Would you all be willing to teach me? That's the question.
Yes. You're not going to like everything you learn. There may be a lot that disturbs you, alarms you, disgusts you. This isn't a knights in shining armor situation. We don't stay clean. Is that something you can accept?
I never did ask you whose bodies were found.
And I will tell him the names. Soft Jimmy, Charla Bell, Zhao Donghai.
I knew Charla. And Soft Jimmy was a regular at the Dog and Whistle. Zhao I have seen around. All losses. All... Damn. I need to think on this. At least for a day.
Of course.
And he'll,
This isn't something you should do lightly. Some of us have more choice than others about whether we pursue life.
And with some hesitation, he will nod. And, he'll pick up the kerosene container and, if, you'll start heading out, then he will too. But he'll remain at your side, Ellie.
I think Felix will go over to Mordecai. Offer a hand up, since you're bandaging yourself.
It's nothing. It's just I've had this before, but thank you.
Fair enough. You did quite well with all of that hand waving and whatever else it is you do.
Yes, Felix, will you teach me Sumerian? And if so, what would I have to give you for that?
Why do you want to know it? It doesn't profit you anything. It doesn't make you money. It doesn't make you comfortable. Why want it?
Because I don't know it yet.
And that's enough. Just
yes.
Because you don't have it, you want it.
Yes, indeed.
Agreed. All right, I understand that at least. Oh, thank goodness.
What do you think I wanted to learn it so to be close to you?
No, I just wanted to see if it was a desire for the sake of learning something, something light and free. But no, it's intellectual greed for you. Good.
I don't see the difference actually. But
That's rather a bit sad. But we can discuss. We can negotiate. You'll definitely have something worth offering, at least, to the altar.
I think so. I think I have right. Yes.
Okay. I think we'll leave with this nascent bargain brewing.
And I think, like, overhearing this, I think Lansing will lean into you, Ellie, and go, do they always bicker like this when they're together?
Pretty much. Felix likes to poke, and Mordecai ruffles when poked.
Usual couple problems. I see it.
Oh,
I hadn't quite looked at it in that light, but
do you say that out loud?
I do say I hadn't looked at it in that light, but yeah, I see what you mean.
He just kind of like, shakes his head and like, yeah. So. And, yeah, so you have resolved Limehouse Lurker. Everybody owes the Mask of the Sun. Hold on, and then let me get the rewards out. Give me a second. Resolved. Okay. Rewards. Can you guys see the Discord chat, or would you prefer it in the Zoom chat? You tell me.
Either way.
Yeah, either one works.
Put it in the Discord chat maybe, because we will lose the Zoom chat, right?
I mean, I have continuous chat in the Zoom chat, but that's fine. I can totally put it in the... Okay. All right. So, there we go. Rewards. Jenny Johnston becomes a recurring side character. You gain 1 extra clue on the information move when you seek her counsel about events in East London. The Man in the Sun Mask becomes a recurring side character. You get 1 extra clue on the information move when you seek his counsel about other worlds. The Vampire, well, no, that's out because the vampire is kind of burned out, so no. A memento from the investigation, ask another hunter what it is and add it to your personal quarters, and then of course another memento from the investigation, ask another hunter what it is and add it to your personal quarters. So anyway, so 4 of those things apply.
So, Ellie, do you want a connection for your vice?
Oh
yeah, I was thinking that Jenny Johnston would make a lot of sense.
Right. And again, like, when the recurring side character belongs to everybody, not just the one person.
Right.
So you wouldn't put them in your personal quarters. You would put them, of course, in the records tab, for the for the thing. So yeah, go ahead and plop that in records. So this way you have that.
Yep, doing it now.
Okay, great.
And what are you thinking, Sabine, in terms of a reward?
I mean, I haven't had time to talk to the Man in the Sun Mask, but I know he's a very fascinating character. But I also also the memento is always fun.
Really
So
up to you?
Yeah, I know. I roll which die. And even as the memento and art is the Man in the Sun Mask. It's the Man in the Sun Mask.
As was foretold.
Yes,
foretold. Yeah, so go ahead and plop him in plop that reward in the records tab, so this way you know. Okay.
So that locks me into a memento. If I could ask for one clarification. Before the dog and whistle I have it marked on my sheet as sort of like a boon that whenever I'm there, I get advantage on rolls. Could that be my reward, or is that just a one and done thing?
I think I made it a one and done thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I will remove that. And Mordecai, what is a
Yeah.
memento that I take away from this entire mess?
Oh, this entire mess with the whole
Yeah, just like a evil blood cloud, I guess, decided to eat a couple of people, and we burned it.
Yeah, and you were around with. Did you? Did you ever talk to the? Yeah, that's a good question. I think you were in the, what's the name of the pub that where you were hanging out? You were hanging out there a lot, Dog and the Whistle, right? I think what you get out of there is I think it's something from there that you just took with you after making inquiries there, here and there. And I think what it is I think it's some sort of, oh, it's a sailor pub, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think what you can take with you is what is supposed to be a mermaid's fin.
Oh. Alleged mermaid's fin.
Oh, incredible. Nice. Somebody been telling some tall tales and just like got a mermaid's fin. All right.
Maybe tall tales.
It might be real.
Be? Yeah, well, everything's possible. Everything's possible. I love it.
All right. I'll take it.
Nice. Okay, awesome. Cool. All right. So, and you don't have to do the Mask of the Sun until the end of the session, or like maybe next time. So whenever you think you're ready to narrate it, that would be great. So Mask of the Sun. Let me make a note here. Dawn questions. Starting with the American. All right. Did you answer a question? Hell yeah. Did you resolve a threat? Hell yeah. Did you experience an echo in the night?
The flames reflecting in my eyes were like the flames in the reflections in the eyes of one of the visitors to the fortune-telling parlor.
Nice. Okay, great. Did you use violence to solve a problem?
I would say yes, I think I did.
Awesome. Okay. Did you encourage a fellow hunter to let loose for a change?
We had discussed that in this group and in this context, letting loose for a change could be letting loose one's more compassionate feelings as opposed to
yeah,
revelry or violence.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, like,
and I did encourage Mordecai to cut poor Edmund a break.
I'm okay if you want to use that, because like, especially if you've like tried to convince them to try to.
I was encouraged. I did not take it, but
it
doesn't
there was an attempt.
Encourage is an attempt, exactly. Encourage is not success, so it's fine. Yeah, so take those points.
So I get another advancement.
Perfect. So take those points, clear your dawn questions, and then change your elective dawn questions if you so choose, and then mark off your new advancement if you know what that is. Okay. Alrighty.
I'm gonna think about that.
Yeah, please do. Felix, you answered a question. You resolved a threat. Did you experience an echo in the night?
Yes. In all this talk about new beginnings and crossing the threshold, we have Lansing, who has crossed that threshold into monster hunting. He hasn't fully committed, but he did rise to the occasion when faced with a threat.
Did you express a clear preference for the beautiful over the mundane?
I don't think so.
Okay. Did you appear in London society wearing risque or avant-garde fashion?
My entire fortune-telling bit.
Yes! Oh my god. God! Too damn funny. Oh my gosh. So good. So yeah, take those points, clear your dawn questions, and then change your elective dawn questions if you so choose.
And I'm gonna bump composure up by 1.
Okay, great. Yeah. And Mordecai. Yep, you answered the
Yeah.
question. You
Mhm.
resolved a threat.
Yeah.
Did you experience an echo in the night?
Yeah, I mean, there was these warding stuff thingies, and I warded the vampire from leaving. So yeah, it's pretty direct, but
Oh yeah.
that doesn't have to be subtle, I think.
No, doesn't. Oh, definitely does not to be subtle. I mean, like I've had people like put in like 5 in a freaking unseen just to make sure that they hit it for sure. Did you make love to a dark entity because it felt good?
I did, yes. Felix was complaining about the noise, but I did.
Who cares? Who cares what your boyfriend
Roommate
thinks?
problems.
It's fine. Yes.
Whoa.
Well,
Hold on
I
a second.
mean, that
No.
is no.
Okay. Did you counsel someone using your supernatural affinities as the basis for that advice?
Yeah, I counseled the weird miasma guy, and then I took down his lab. Okay, but still, I counseled.
You counseled like you shouldn't be doing this, bro.
No, I said, look at the meridians in this anatomy poster you had. You have totally forgotten to add the mythical, right?
Right.
I remember this.
Yes.
I did that just for the XP.
Yeah.
No, and also because it was funny.
Yes, exactly. So yes, add it to your advancement track, clear your dawn questions, and change your elective dawn questions if you so choose. And if you are doing advancement, please go ahead and take one. And then clear your advancement track, of course.
I am taking the advancement Awakened Soul.
Ooh.
You are sensitive to the desires and behaviors of animals.
Ooh.
When you encounter an animal, you may ask the keeper, "What does the animal want me to do?" The keeper will answer truthfully and completely. When you act on the answer or pursue a course of action in which an intuitive understanding of an animal's behavior would be helpful, any associated rolls are taken with advantage.
Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, and if anybody else has not picked an advancement yet, no big deal. Just let us know when you do. All right. So we were just talking about Ellie's bad life decisions. What?
Yeah, Ellie is a poster child for bad life decisions. She's realizing that with Lansing being around regularly, the
We don't know
odds
that yet.
Yeah, but she's pretty sure that even if he doesn't join Hargrave House, she's going to be seeing more of him. And she wants to, but she also realizes that the odds of that meaning he finds out her secrets and worse yet is endangered by her secrets goes up considerably. Yeah, this is the latest in a long string of Ellie acting without thinking and then realizing that was not a great idea.
So in this tightrope that you're walking, when you falter, which of the 2 roommates you're gonna ask for help?
That's a really good question.
Whomever's around, that's gonna have to be the decision.
It's gonna depend on who's available and if not for the whole Lansing business, it probably would have been Mordecai, except that Mordecai is a hunter, and as a beast, Ellie does not trust hunters.
Oh, don't worry, neither does Mordecai. I mean, he's told you about the Order of Saint Sylvester who's hanging around, right? And
yeah.
Not friends of his, so.
Yeah. So we'll see.
But we'll see exactly how much Mordecai decides to disclose, because everybody's fucking keeping secrets. Even Felix, even though he's not really saying how much. So, hey, whatever.
I've been completely open and honest about my past. I have not lied even
once. That's true. That's true. But of course, it's
Ellie doesn't understand what you told her.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't realize that you are not just being grandiosely metaphorical. Because that's what it sounded like to her.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Mordecai hasn't lied precisely, just left large chunks out of but that there were not that
Technically
pertinent.
the truth.
I mean,
Yeah.
Ellie hasn't lied.
Exactly. We're just cautious with our truths,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I think
I haven't.
this is a good survival strategy.
Yeah. I left America because I lost someone dear to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want to be in the places that we'd been together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How I lost them? Yeah, not gonna get
Who
into that
knows?
until I have to.
I had a disagreement with the Order of Saint Sylvester, which is completely true and does not explain the relationship I had with them before the disagreement, but you never know.
I got bored and decided to have a comeback tour to Londinium. Like,
Back to Londinium. Is this the kind of discussion that you have over tea or coffee, or like, over toast or breakfast the next day?
I highly doubt that.
I mean, he's not even there. I mean, like, he went home
Yeah.
to get changed back into his constable thing. Remember, he's still thinking about this stuff. He's not there. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Yeah. So where do we find, or how do we find Hargrave House the next morning after this wonderful, wonderful vampire roast, literally?
I'm happy to do my mask as part of like a dream overnight.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
That
Okay,
would make
great.
sense. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Okay.
Felix in his luxurious bed sleeps, rests, and remembers a large hall lined with marble, large beings greater than anything that you could imagine, toasting and feasting after a great victory against a fallen foe. And we see one man at the front bearing a lightning bolt in one hand and a glowing glass of an amber liquid, just toasting to the fall of Kronos. My fellow gods, we would not have done such a thing had we not come together and cast him into the void. And in the back, we see a young man, glowing skin, bald except for a single gold forelock. And he speaks in a familiar voice, and without the help of his son as well. And we see the man that would become Felix take a draught of ambrosia. And we see a man who approaches him, similar glowing skin, burning red eyes, wringing his hands. I don't know what I'm going to do. And Felix asks, Prometheus, my dear brother, what is bothering you? What did you not possibly foresee? Father has given me this grand task of giving gifts to all things, and our dear brother has neglected to save one for man. Such a terrible thing, dear brother. But... And Felix sees that there's a roaring fire in the middle where they're cooking various beasts and the like. If only there were something free, something that could inspire them, that could help. And then Prometheus looks over at the flame, and Ocasio, who would become Felix, looks and says, I will go and raise a toast, and perhaps no one will notice that you, my dear brother, are gone for a bit. And Ocasio, god of opportunity, steps forward to give his brother a chance. And it fades.
I can do my mask as well. That's okay. Yeah, so Mordecai lies down, takes probably at least some pain medication for the broken finger, and slumbers while the spirits cavort around him. And slumbering, you'll see a chamber, a huge chamber, ritual chamber, with an altar and all kinds of sacrifice laden upon it. And a group of people who are standing there, solemn, very, very solemn, very concentrated, very serious. And they call upon something, and something answers. And the something sees, it's from the viewpoint of the something that answers, sees or perceives these people there, and does not understand at all their intent. The words are something like, "Great God, we have these sacrifices, come and bring us your succor," and things like that. But the only thing these beings recognize, that this is a strange place, an unfamiliar place, but there are these alive things, these beings, and they will turn to these beings, and you can feel entering kind of a body and having these sensations, and they're overwhelming. They're horror and disgust, but they're overwhelming. That's so interesting. That is like a drug. Just having these feelings where you had none before, these sensations where there was nothing. Yeah, that's amazing. And there will be some of these people will just start running around and being panicked, maybe, and calling, and then suddenly one of them, an older woman, lifts a staff and strikes the ground 3 times, and you get sucked back to where it came from, this cold and neutral place. And Mordecai wakes up in a cold sweat.
Ellie doesn't usually sleep the whole night through in one stretch. She sleeps for a bit, gets up, putters round her room, stretches out for a while, maybe lies awake, maybe goes back to sleep. She's up and down all night. But not long before dawn, she's curled up. She's curled in a little ball on her bed, practically. Almost fetal, huddled up. But in her head, she is as stretched out and expanded and free as she has ever been, in a beautiful forest on a mountainside. Trees, but beyond the trees, there's a view over a great valley. Just an immense and green space that is alive with tiny sounds of living things and so many smells. The smell of running water, the smell of dozens of different kinds of plants, not just greenness, but the greenness of a pine tree here, and the greenness of a blackberry leaf there, and all the associated fruits of the summer and flowers as well. She has been contemplating the view. Now she just, almost without preamble, begins to run. Running and leaping through the trees, upward and upward on the slope, until finally she reaches a great rock that is warmed by the sun, and on it she stretches out to full length and looks out over the valley. And this is not Ellie as we see her walking around London. in her long coat and her fancy boots. This is Ellie in her other shape.
Perhaps, strangely enough, you all wake at the same time, although you know it not, from your dreams. And you rise slowly out of slumber and do your morning ablutions as you will, but you make your way down whenever you will to the kitchen and do your normal things. There is the ringing of the post, perhaps, or maybe there was the post that had come in, but nobody had the time to read the letter that had come in the day before, or at dusk, and it's sitting on the table, tossed aside to be picked up by anybody who maybe perhaps will get a chance to read it. It's sealed. It's from an acquaintance of Hargrave House that you are familiar with, Sir Richard Harlow, apologize, who is a trusted friend who has expertise in Fey lore and magic.
Oh.
So, a letter from him.
That's intriguing enough that I'm gonna
Okay.
scoop it up and open it.
Yeah. He writes to you all, like to Hargrave House in general, just letting you know that he is due to present a summary of his life's work to the Blue Feather Society soon. And it's a private salon where curious minds explore the more esoteric subjects when not discussed in formal institutions. He has this air about him generally that, says that the stuff that he talks about is more for minds that are open for his more out there theories. You can sort of remember, like, seeing him. He's kind of like this medium-sized man who constantly, like, runs his fingers through his hair when he's, like, thinking of, like, all of these things that he remembers and, like, will explain to you at the drop of a hat, like, all the storytelling and folklore that he remembers and the theories that he propounds, from them. But yes, I mean, like, he wanted to let Hargrave House know and invite them to come to the Blue Feather Society for this particular salon presentation. Yes, in fact, he had said in the letter that he was convinced that creatures of the Fey realm, or the other crowd as he refers to them, had infiltrated London, and he supposedly had new evidence to support his theory. Yeah.
I will read this aloud to the rest of the room as I wait for my coffee to brew.
A social gathering.
Are we to believe that the Fey folk have not been in London before? I find that hard to believe.
We killed a vampire yesterday, but you draw the line at the Fae and...
No, this is not. I believe that the Fae are here. I don't believe that this is news.
Ah.
I mean,
but
I see what you mean, but if he's uncovered something, that might be useful for us to know.
Yes, no doubt.
So
I
we're
mean,
going to attend a symposium.
Why not?
It might be interesting. I will admit it might be interesting, yes.
See, even Mordecai says it might be interesting.
Then we have to go as a group.
Yes.
As a motley crew.
Ding, ding,
yes.
ding,
With
ding,
color
ding,
coordinated
ding,
clothes.
Ding, 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 ding.
Nora, the door.
I'll get it. And she will. And you hear some murmuring and... But, no, not the kitchen. And the detective inspector, Pettigrew, will burst into the kitchen. Hargrave House.
Good
Yes,
morning.
that is the right address.
Indeed. Do you have a reason for bursting in here without invitation? Or are we just to guess?
No, I do have some news of an acquaintance of yours, as I'm given to understand. And he just kind of like rubs his head as he just stands there, just harumphing. But also, I am disturbed myself for some news that I had gotten from one of my constables. I'm not even sure which to address first. So...
Well, why don't you go away and figure this out, and then you can come back and talk to us.
Thank you for the warm welcome, Mr. Laurence. I
You
appreciate
did not be
it.
burst in here disrespecting my attendant, so you were not invited. You didn't even ask for an invitation. So please forgive me if I'm not feeling very cordial.
I will be brief. Sir Richard Harlow is an acquaintance and contact of Hargrave House, yes?
The name is known to us, certainly.
Yes, well, you'll be disturbed to know that he's dead.
So much for the symposium.
Symposium?
What happened?
I had an outfit and everything picked out.
He was found strangely hollowed out and preserved, wrapped head to toe in delicate silver thread.
Oh.
Obviously not a usual way to be found.
No. No. Well, thank you for bringing us the news.
Unfortunate. Seems like you have your hands full.
Yes, yes. Which is why I am a bit concerned about some news that I'd heard from one of my other constables.
What's that?
That one of my constables was found, well, seen, impersonating a detective inspector and seeming to go out on a job, mission, something, with you all last night. What's this I hear about Constable Lansing?
Constable Lansing was with us last night. He was in civilian clothes. He did not in any way claim to be anything other than what he is. I think somebody may have seen him and made some assumptions, but he in no way impersonated anyone. And are constables not permitted to have social lives? Are constables not permitted to have activities when they are not on duty?
They are, but if they do impede upon their duties during their regular time, then it is something that concerns the rest of us on the force, especially when we're so short-handed as it is.
And have you raised this concern with Inspector Lansing, or is this just idle chatter?
Because I am interested in details and being efficient with time, I figured I would address it here first, since I was here anyway. Thank you.
Mordecai?
Yes.
So, if I understand how crime works, you need the means, the motive, and the opportunity, correct?
Yes, that is my understanding as well.
So let's see. Lansing has no opportunity to get these clothes that are supposedly what he was wearing. He doesn't have any motive for properly wearing a uniform that doesn't belong to him. And let's see, what does that mean? Motive. Why would he do such a thing? Mordecai, am I missing something?
I what you are missing, I think, is that this man here who burst into here, this place has a very suspicious mind and believes every chatter and rumor that he hears on the streets, obviously.
That's true. You said that there was another constable that reported this. Who would that be? Are you saying that maybe they don't have a motive for taking down Lansing? Perhaps improving their own prestige? Do they have an opportunity? Do you have their whereabouts traced? Perhaps they were out doing something lascivious and they're trying to get you on Lansing's case. Far be it from me, of course. I'm just here drinking some coffee, which, Ellie, it is absolutely lovely, this whatever it is.
And you distinctly see, like, Pettigrew, like, harump, but then, like, the whiskers, like, literally, like, move that twitchy sideways. And, see that you look into this particular case of Sir Harlow.
No. That's not how you ask for things, Pettigrew. Try again. You are a guest. Or are you an
We're
intruder?
not your constables. We don't take orders.
It would be... And he gulps. It would be of...
Is it
helpful?
very...
It would be helpful if Hargrave House could possibly look into this strange case of Sir Harlow. Is that helpful?
And Scotland Yard will cooperate with us throughout this investigation.
Within our means. If we do not have the means, then we will not interfere.
That's what I like to hear.
Well, I am inclined to look into this in any case. As you say, he was known to us, and it certainly sounds like the sort of thing we are interested in, but I am very glad that we've got the relationship between Hargrave House and the police understood.
And he kind of just gives you, like, like this look with a small smile playing on the edge of his lips. It's like, yes, the relationship between Hargrave House and the police. Hopefully. I shall leave you to your breakfast.
One more thing.
Yes?
Are you familiar with the Committee for Public Sanitation?
I know they sent us a letter. Why?
I'm wondering why your office didn't investigate it. The matter in the Misswell Rookery.
We do not have the means to search out the cause or the origin of some mysterious flesh-eating gas.
So it's not a matter of one of the higher-ups trying to prevent investigation into something, perhaps because it would implicate a politician or the like?
What? No, not that I... What? I mean, he looks genuinely puzzled, like as if you've just said like a bunch of words and he does not understand what you just said.
Pettigrew, who do you trust?
You are asking the strangest questions, man. What?
The people who give you orders. Do you trust them?
Yes.
Why?
You have your jobs to do. I have mine. Get on with it.
Fair enough. Have a good morning.
And he just doesn't even doff his hat. He just kind of like stomps away and then like, heads out. And Nora hurriedly like, opens up the door and just like lets him out.
Goodbye, don't come again.
And she just like kind of like, just like kind of like shuts the door as quickly as possible and then like, leans against and like
Thank you, Nora.
Oh, so much for our evening out.
and
But I think somebody just offered himself as a new target. I feel something coming on. Ellie, I hope you will not fall for this person as well.
Oh
Hardly. Good Lord.
hold on. Yeah. Okay. Hargrave House is familiar enough with fey magic to recognize the manifestations in the manner of Sir Richard's death. How do you know that Ms. Beaumont is no human but a dangerous fey creature in disguise? Mordecai.
Mm.
And Miss Beaumont was who again?
Okay, so
Remind me.
basically it's like, I'm like, there was like more details in here that I haven't
Yeah.
gotten to yet.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to mention it right now. So say you find out a little bit more.
Oh, okay. Miss Beaumont wears gloves and very long clothing, but first of all, there's some of the fingers don't move right, as if there were too few or maybe too many, and when she walks, her steps aren't quite what they should be. Too loud, too a little limp there. That says these are not actually feet that she has.
Mm.
It's a monster doing a walking impression.
Mm.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give you this detail, even though you haven't quite met up with them yet. Yeah, you have heard details that you've actually heard details that Sir Richard has been courting a mysterious seamstress whose magnificent fashion designs and apparently her company have proved irresistible to a number of London's artistic and academic elite, named Hazel Beaumont. Each of her other suitors have also vanished, though no
Oh.
bodies have turned up. So, yeah.
Hollowed out sounds to me like he was being used to contain something or something hatched out of him.
Fun.
Just a thought,
Mm.
but
Who knows?
Maybe he was taken for a little ride.
You don't know. So, yeah. So let's see. Let me plug this into the summary. Give me a second. And this is called the Spider Silk
Ooh.
Seamstress.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yes.
I thought that body sounded familiar.
Yep, exactly. All right. So, your questions and opportunities. This is a fun one because this is layered. You have your pick of ways to figure this out. So, you can either do question of a complexity 4. How is the creature ensnaring her victims? Resolve the threat by allowing a hunter to be lured by the seamstress as bait and then capturing or destroying her. That's 1. Or you can find out the creature's true name
Oh.
for complexity 6. And the way you resolve that threat is by learning the creature's true name and gaining power over her and dismantling the binding rituals which sustain her in the human realm. Fey names can take many forms, and then it could be a fleeting series of images, a song or a poem, a word unknown to human tongues, or something else. So you have plenty of ways that you can interpret that and come up with a solution to resolve the threat, okay? And then the last one is the longest, but the most complex. So you have your choice of these 3 ways. What does the creature truly want? And the way you can do this is resolve the threat by striking a bargain with the creature in accordance with ancient Fey customs. And it could either be a choice from the list that I posted, or you can figure one out on your own. And so long as this agreement is kept, Hargrave House has access to a custom move called Draw the Veil. Okay? So that last one, again, is more complex, but it gets you a custom move. So you decide which of these 3 ways that you want to resolve this threat. Okay? Yep. 4, 6, or 8. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, sorry, it's like so weird. I mean, like,
It's
doesn't
fine.
like PDFs do not like FRs.
I know.
So if you want to fix it, please do. Goddamn.
I'm going through and fixing it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Oh
you.
my gosh. Oh, and then the threat mask is called the Mask of Glamour. Let me go ahead and
The mask off what?
Glamour. I will plug that in.
Oh.
Give me a second.
Cool.
This is a fun one. I love this mask particularly. I'm just gonna plug it in here. You don't have to worry about it. Each hunter describes a flashback to a time where they peered through the veil and glimpsed another world beyond this one.
Ooh.
So
Wow.
yeah, it's a fun one. Okay, so don't forget you have that before the end of the threat. Okay. So, all right. So you're back up at 3 active threats. Okay.
Nice.
So, day phase. Let's see. Let's look at the hunters here. We have conditions. 2 people of which who can definitely muck about and do some vulnerable scenes. And 1 who can, who could conceivably get rid of the condition if they wanted to, but that's up to them. But yeah, that's up to them. And still involve in vulnerable scenes or just scenes and have at it. So yeah, what would you like to do this morning? You have your choice of threats. Oh yeah, let's look at the threats, by the way. So Ms. Wellhill, you have the complexity 6 question. If human in origin, what dastardly scheme is behind the emission of the miasma? And you currently have 2 clues to use. Okay. Coven, you have 4 night phases left to figure out when and where will the final step of the grand ritual take place for a complexity 6. Okay, stopping the ritual and or destroying the coven is your goal, and you have 3 clues so far. So
I've been doing work. You guys gotta pick up the pace.
Here's your choice, and of course this new threat to investigate. So depends on how much you want to get done, or like vulnerable scenes and such first.
And if we don't resolve a threat, we get another one next day phase because the coven doesn't count against our limit, right?
I mean, it counts, but any time that like something doesn't get resolved for whatever reason or what have you, then the next day phase, it's always going to be up to 3 active threats unless you reach that threshold where the Mastermind threat or the assault on Hargrave House pauses it or stops it. So yeah.
Okay.
Aside from a vulnerable scene, I think Mordecai wants to spend at least one part of this day going for a visit with Mrs. Pemberton Potts. And maybe talk to her assistant. I'm not sure if it's Magnuson or Dr. whatever his name was, Holtz, I think?
Dr. Holzer.
Dr. Holzer, because that's also it's a medical person.
Yeah, Dr.
Maybe he could
Holzer's...
help me.
Yeah.
Maybe I could use him as a resource for the miasma thing. But first of all, I want to go for a visit, and I will need Ellie's advice before I go.
Okay. So, do you want a vulnerable scene with one of your fellow hunters first, or do you want to go visit Mrs. Pemberton Potts? What do you want to do?
Oh, I think maybe I can combine the whole I need to ask Ellie what flowers to take with the vulnerable scene.
Yeah.
And don't forget, you still, I think you guys, I mean, you did get it, like the forest, the forest sense. So if ever you want to
Right.
research something, I mean, you do have that ability.
Right.
But yeah,
So, and
now the
Ellie
question,
and,
of course, is your vice or mine?
yeah.
What's yours is laudanum, right? Laudanum, how do you pronounce that? Sorry.
Laudanum? It's opium
Laudanum.
smoking, actually.
I know. Oh, okay. Laudanum was someone
Laud.
else?
I don't think anybody in this group has laudanum.
Oh, okay, okay. Maybe I was considering it, and that's got me confused. I don't know. What do you think?
I
We
mean, if you
could.
don't mind hanging out while I hit the pipe, then
I don't know.
all
It's
right.
fine. So I think, yeah, I think, where do you do your laudanum, no, opium pipe, sorry.
Either I go to an opium den like Jenny Johnston's, or I've got that nook off the kitchen of Hargrave House that we've
Oh,
established.
right. Oh, that's, so maybe I will find you there,
Sure.
see if you're, and, well, I will make myself some tea with copious amounts of honey in it, actually. And I will say, Ellie, I think it is time for a neighborly visit to our lovely Miss Pemberton Potts, who has been
Ah,
in and about our business quite a bit.
that
And
she has.
I was wondering, more, you have more expertise on the language of flowers. I have not been able to catch up with that. Will you advise me on what to take?
Yeah, yeah. I could certainly do that.
Thank you.
So, well, the first question is what message you want to send.
I think the message would be something along the lines that we are aware that she is playing a game and that maybe she should be careful with antagonizing us
Hmm,
without saying clearly back off,
right.
just saying be cautious if you're mm, if you are
Well, let's see. Well, the various aconites are good for sending a warning. Um, but that might not be, there might be a bit more of a direct threat
yeah, no,
than,
I don't think we should make a threat. Just say, okay, we acknowledge that we know what you're doing and we are willing to engage
okay.
as equals.
Let's see. Pondering.
Mm.
I think perhaps, all right. All right. Bellflowers are a warning, but a less
More
aggressive
ex-
warning. It's
oh,
more acknowledging
mhm.
that there is something going
Yeah.
on. And so I think bellflowers are a good place to start.
Well,
And perhaps borage to indicate that we are not intimidated.
yes, very good.
And magnolia to indicate that we will persevere. How's that?
Yeah, that's very good. Yes, I like that. I will, I think I will send Nora to pick something up. And will go over and present myself since we have been invited.
Indeed. So what did you think of last night's work?
It went rather well, I think. Your person was not as much of a handicap as I thought he would be.
He did well. He did well. I think few of us have managed perfectly the first time we were confronted with something
Yes,
untoward, but
it is different for us, isn't it?
it is. But he did well. He did well.
Yes, he did well, but I do not trust his association with the crown, as I've said. And Pettigrew turning up on our doorstep and throwing his weight around, I think that proves my point, does it not?
That's a concern, I suppose. But it's early days yet.
Yes,
See,
well.
see how things shake out. A little more time.
Yes. Well. My voice is a little.
I did have one question I hadn't had a chance to bring up. Which actually not related to last night directly. When I went to look at the bodies yesterday, there was a rather unpleasant incident with some rats that spoke. I don't think it was the vampires doing. They told me to say hello to Gabriel for them.
And you know Mordecai well enough to see that absolutely elicits a reaction. It's not like he drops the cup he's holding or anything, but he starts like gripping it very tightly and taking a sip just to hide his reaction to that. And I don't know if your senses are able to scent fear, but if they were, they would scent that now.
So that does mean something to you.
It does. Yes, it does indeed.
And it's not good.
It's the order. It's them.
So they have some interesting means of sending messages, I must say.
They have magic, as I said.
Yeah.
And
well, it sounds like Felix may have made some headway on tracking down what they're up to.
Yes, or were they up to it? I mean.
Yeah, you know what they're planning and just not where.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I do not know the precise means of the ritual.
Okay.
But it would not be good for us if they could do what they are planning.
Well, that's good to know that that was connected.
Oh yes. You should be careful about this.
Okay, I will. The message was meant for you, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Well, I'll stay on my toes.
I will just have to drink more of this honey to regain the full power of my voice, which, well, I might manage to have ruined yesterday. It's not a good place for me to be right now.
No. You need all your faculties available to you, I'm sure.
Indeed I do. and not just for going on a neighborhood visit.
Right.
I maybe should try and figure something out about where they are situated, at least. The Society of Dreamers, whatever they choose to call themselves.
Right. Well, this pipe is about out, and I feel a bit more ready to take on the day now.
Conditions?
But
Strength.
knowing what that was, that knowing that the creepy talking rats were, oh, it was a known enemy using magic to send a message to Mordecai. Okay, I understand this. I'm less creeped out by it than if the rats themselves were somehow capable of doing that. That would have been weirder. It was a magical message.
Sure.
I got it. That's okay.
You got it. Okay. All right. Cool. You can
And
take
I
that out.
think I have this sore larynx, but I've been drinking tea, and I've probably inhaled some of these opium stuff that Ellie's been smoking, right?
Yeah, you got some secondhand. Yeah.
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 So I think that might take care. Is that enough to take care of that condition?
Sure.
That's
Totally.
cool. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So now between the two of you, or like, the whole table can figure out like what threat you'd like to apply a clue to that you create.
I think it makes sense to apply it to the coven since that's what we were discussing.
Sure. It's fine. Put a TBD on it so you can
Yep.
put your thumb on the scale later once you figure out what kind of clue you'd like to add. Felix, would you like to do a vulnerable scene or some kind of scene for this? Because I have something that is a little bit of a surprise. I'm going to save that.
I'd be happy to have a scene, even though I can't get rid of my one condition, most beloved.
You can, but
I don't have the move yet.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying, man.
I could. You're right.
Yes.
I won't.
Okay.
So I don't know whether Mordecai wants to have a learning scene or
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, that would be neat.
Okay. Yeah. So
Sure.
Where do you go to learn?
Probably there's probably like a raised patio sort of thing that lets us look over the city, or at least the street that's in front of us. Right?
Yes.
So probably out there, Mordecai can bring his tea.
Yep.
And there's probably like not necessarily
fresh air and not the fumes that were probably making you a little fuzzy-headed.
Yeah. And then there's probably not necessarily window boxes, but like this outdoor patio thing is probably lined with little gardening boxes, so he can keep an eye on Nora too.
Yes. For sure.
Cool. Yeah.
And
cool.
Vice. I mean, we could just have a scene.
Right. We can just have a scene. It's true. Let's just have a scene.
We're just having a scene where it's late morning. We're going through, and Felix is naming things that he sees on the street and adapting as he can, because there was no ancient Sumerian word for car or
chimney.
So just adapting that.
Probably there was a probably word for chimney. I'm sorry.
But we're adapting vocabulary and training. It's just I, myself, you, her, and going through those pronouns. But eventually they decide to take a break.
And I think Felix will find that when you start teaching Mordecai and he overcomes his normal like reservations, he actually is interested and likes this. He really likes learning stuff, more for the sake of learning itself, because it provides him with pleasure. and not for just
A purpose.
a purpose, exactly.
What different kind of look does Mordecai have, Felix, when you see him animated in the learning mode?
Mordecai actually physically engages, I think. Body language is more open. The questions that Mordecai asks are genuine rather than sort of a prodding, like, okay, say a thing so I can trip you. If I understand, Sabine, how Mordecai engages with conversation normally, it's a debate of who has the superior position. Here, it's more of an equivalency, it's an exchange, it's uncovering things.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So why hunt? It's clear that you enjoy learning, enjoy academia, so why even bother with all of this?
It's an intellectual challenge for me, pitting myself against an opponent, figuring out ways to trip them or get them. It is, and Mordecai thinks for a while, is a way of engaging with people that is interesting to me. And what he doesn't say, and what you probably can hear between the words, is like that leaves me emotionally not in a place where I'd have to be vulnerable, but still gives me some sort of connection. That he doesn't say that, obviously, but that's what's going on.
You remind me of a sister I had a long time ago. She was a hunter too. She also preferred to go out in the woods and deal with things on her own. Was difficult to talk with, but I think I begin to understand. I think she would have liked you.
I will regard that as a compliment, I guess.
You all should. But what's the end goal? Just to continue to go from challenge to challenge, never seeking comfort, never seeking peace, just wanting more and more and more, as is your ilk.
My ilk?
Sorry, as is human nature.
And Mordecai looks at Felix with this like, well, I have to do something to remind myself that I'm human, don't I?
Is that what that is? And Felix nods over to Nora.
Yes, I guess. Maybe. But I'm not entirely sure what that is, actually.
You think?
Maybe I'm still... Yeah, maybe you're not wrong.
These people who are going around to a bunch of well-to-do folk, that society of something or other, the ones that you recognized.
Yes.
Did they have a similar sort of relationship that you do with Nora?
You're very perceptive, Felix. It is a complicated thing.
So do you think that she is a chance to make good from their ill?
I hope not.
And why not? Why not plant a tree that'll outlive you?
No, because what they do, all of it, in their relationships, manipulation and using people. And I hope that is not what I'm doing with Nora.
There's an old adage in Sumerian, and Felix will say it. I'm not going to even make an attempt.
Yeah.
That, which means trust in the gods, but tie up your own camel. What I mean to say is that you can trust in greater powers, but at the end of the day, what matters is responsible action to take care of your affairs. And in your dealings with Nora, it seems like you're doing that rather than what this order was doing, depending on some other entities to deal with things. At least from what I could tell with talking with these well to do folk.
Have you spoken to one of the order yet, Felix?
No. Although
Be-
going about and introducing myself as you, no doubt I'm going to attract their attention sooner or later.
Yeah. Be careful, Felix. I know that you are a lot older than you look, and a lot stranger. But still.
I will take that under advisement.
Thank you.
Perhaps I'll let you and Ellie handle the rest of those investigations. Unless there's a party, in which case, please do invite me. But
I wouldn't dream of not inviting you.
well, that's enough of a break. Nora, put down those shears and join us. You're going to learn Sumerian today.
As she does, would you say that you're able to see the street or the sidewalk, and the sidewalk is able to see you?
Yeah, I'm trying to pick out the next vocabulary word to teach and to adapt so I can come up with the rules. So yes, I
You
do.
see a Constable Short striding up and seeing you there, and it's like saying, "You, I need to talk with you." Please.
Very well. Nora, would you go get the door and show him into the parlor?
And she nods and will, gesture to him for him to follow her. Takes off his hat and has hat in
While
hand.
she's dealing with that, Felix will jot down some things. Wait, no. I guess he'll just look at Mordecai and say, "We'll have to pick up the lesson some other time, it seems. I imagine that you would want to investigate the coven during daylight, and..."
Well, I have plans to visit our lovely neighbor because we have been invited, and also because her wards have been sniffing around our affairs for quite some time now. So I think I will pay her a visit.
Yes. And I'll dignify Constable Short with my presence, if only to
Yes.
understand how he might impact Lansing and Pettigrew.
Yes, I wish you all the pleasure that you can take from this visit.
Everybody needs something, don't they?
Indeed. And Mordecai stands up and looks on you, and one day I think I will figure out what you need, Felix.
You and me both. And Felix will go inside and see Constable Short.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't sat. He keeps his hat in hand and will look rather worried, and that's the expression on his face when he sees you at the parlor.
Felix will sit down in the best seat in the house. Oh, sorry, that's the salon. I guess we'll dust off whatever chair we have in there since it hasn't really been used.
Right. Exactly. You don't even show quality in here into the parlor, so I mean,
No.
I guess that's an indicator. But he just
Sure.
And he just doesn't know how to start.
Take your time.
Do you know where Constable Lansing is?
At the moment, no. Am I your brother's keeper?
I didn't mean to get him into a spot of bother. It wasn't
Yes.
meant to get him in trouble.
What did you think would happen when you reported to a superior officer that someone was dressed in a uniform unbecoming of their station?
That he would get a dressing down and he would get convinced not to have any dealings with your lot.
And yet here you are.
Look, I'm worried about him, okay?
Sit.
I mean, the man is practically thrumming with worry.
That is why I am telling him to sit.
And he does. But he won't look at you.
Good. Explain, Short. Why are you so worried?
He won't tell you. He just shakes his head. Concern for fellow officer.
If that were the case, you would be speaking with Pettigrew.
I did.
And can I tell why he's so hesitant to share the information?
He thinks that it's just to complicate things is basically what I'm trying to do.
And I mean, so if you want Felix to, because he hasn't really ever been intimidating, but the fact that Short is here and refusing to give him what he demands, Felix is gonna start turning on the charm and you are here in Hargrave House, alone, seeking help because you have no other option. Constable Short. Speak.
I think he was going to be sacked. I was going to offer my help.
You're worried about him losing his profession? You're worried about him losing his daily bread?
Not just
Constable Short, is that it?
No.
Then elaborate further. Otherwise, you'll risk me busting a lung from laughter.
He looks you straight in the eye. I want him. And we cut over to Mordecai. Mordecai, you're over at Mrs. Pemberton Potts's door with your bouquet.
Yes. And my parasol, because
Oh, that's
daylight.
right. Yes, daylight. And, yeah. Maglasang answers the door.
Mm-hmm.
And funnily enough, you see behind him, you see in the hallway and foyer, you see Laura Walton
Mm-hmm.
talking with Constable Lansing.
Oh, interesting.
And we're going to cut there and end the session.
Wow.
Unkind.
Stars and wishes.
Star, lessons with Mordecai, lessons with Mordecai, just that whole interaction and slowly adding more depth aside from the like, well, you're rude, well, you're also rude, and like giving more depth and nuance to that conversation was fun. I liked the speech that Ellie was giving after the vampire killing, just to Lansing the like, once you cross this threshold, like you're in the game, given that sort of like, I don't know, it was a very inspiring, very like, do what you need to make the decision. And I think that was a really good character moment. And Matt, it was just fun to play against you with Pettigrew, just kind of having that opportunity to plant the seeds of but can you really trust people? Like, get him at least off balance in case Lansing does wind up going up the authority ladder for whatever reason.
Exactly. We'll see.
I was also very happy for the opportunity to reveal Felix's real name. I should have used his Greek name. Ocasio is the Roman name. Kairos is the Greek one. But
nice. Also wonderful.
Wish. Dealing with this very messy Lansing thing. I don't even know if it's my place to deal with it. It sounds sort of like a hand grenade I roll over to Ellie and say, hey, good luck. Thank you for the session.
Mm-hmm.
This was a lot of fun. All around. The vampire vanquishing was very satisfying. And felt like, if the dice hadn't gone our way, it would have been really dangerous. It was clear that, we were right to be taking it seriously and taking precautions. It's interesting seeing where things are going with Lansing, especially as Ellie realizes both I'm falling hard for this guy and it is dangerous to fall for this guy. She's really caught between the two now. And that is a very interesting and I think fruitful place for further play. I like seeing more sides of Felix, both the dream, but also seeing him as, okay, yeah, I'll teach. Yeah. That we haven't seen him in that kind of role any more than we've seen Mordecai in the student kind of role. That is also new for Felix. And then just the, okay, short, out with it now. The nice rounding out there. And I really like the vulnerable scene with Mordecai. I feel like that was Ellie didn't fully understand how much this coven situation is freaking Mordecai out, but I think she has a much better idea now. And that is making her treat it with more gravity. It's like, okay, Mordecai, who's so vampires, whatever, and so on, he's worried about this. That's okay. Okay, we're taking this real seriously now. And also, she's kind of concerned for him. Uh on a more human level, and because Ellie is the arguably most kind and nurturing person here. More than arguably, I think, really. And so that's she's gonna be kind of looking out for Mordecai in ways that he might not fully expect. And Mads, I really like how you're running with the whole Lansing thing. How this is both who he is and the decisions he's making, and also how this is blowing up his life and complicating our relationships with the police, and now the Mastermind's getting tangled up in it, and I look forward to seeing where this is going.
I will echo all the stars. I really like the mask thing, seeing Felix's hello, I'm God, by the way. That was the and you don't know if it was just a dream or if it was real. So yeah, I love that particularly. And I love the two vulnerable scenes that I had both with Ellie and with Felix. And next vulnerable scene I have with you, Felix, we'll talk about you. Yeah, because you're very good at asking questions, and I think that's the lesson Mordecai took away from this. Felix asked a lot of very insightful questions, but he doesn't answer any.
You're not allowed to ask me questions. What are you talking about? I've been completely straightforward by not answering anything.
Yeah, exactly. That makes it even more interesting. Yes. So, yeah. And I like the way the Lansing thing is playing out. I especially liked Ellie's realization. Hey, wait a minute, maybe that wasn't a good idea at all. So and I love the cliffhanger at the end, Lansing at Miss Pemberton Potts. That was wow. Thank you for doing that. That was really fun. So yeah. And there are a lot of other things that I'm currently forgetting. Oh, the vampire. The vampire, this crying child. Where's my mommy? Uh-huh.
And all the hunters are just like, yeah, bullshit.
Yeah. Yep.
Who's gonna fall for this? Like underground in London? Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. I mean, like, the vampire was gonna give it a shot. I mean, like,
Yeah, I'm sure that defense has worked well for it in the past, but it wasn't up against Hargrave House when it did.
Nope, exactly. So that's awesome. So, no, you guys did such a great job today, and even though it felt fast, it didn't feel so fast that it was just like, like it didn't go over, things too weirdly. Like, everybody still had a chance to spotlight themselves, like in every hunter scene after an unseen, and then you had still an opportunity to get an echo in the night, and just really showcase what it looks like when Hargrave House works together to to get something done, which I absolutely adored. And getting ready for it, and then the aftermath was still great. And then the vulnerable scenes afterwards were just so beautiful. I mean, I just love that. I mean, a teaching scene, we didn't have to have it, but I really enjoyed the fact that we did. And it was just so great to see Felix engage Mordecai and get Mordecai be more animated, and then Ellie talking with Mordecai honestly about trying to get him to open up. I mean, that's the kind of thing that I think Mordecai needs more of, especially with the coven in play, right? And then for Felix to be involved in this whole Lansing thing, it's like, what the fuck is going on? We'll see how this goes. And I'm just going to disclose right now, if you haven't already figured it out, it's like my mastermind is a meddler. So she has roots not only with the Between, but of course with Brindlewood Bay. So she is naturally a meddler. So shit's going to happen, because she's going to put her fingers in the pie. All right. So who knows? Who knows what she's getting involved in, right? So it's great. You guys are making this a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, it could be more complicated. I'm sorry to see Jazzy not able to join us for the rest of the series, but I mean, if you want me to, it's like I'll invite a fourth to join us in the fun. Could complicate things even further. I don't know. I mean, but yeah, with my no only 2-player rule, it's kind of it'll be difficult. Once we start getting into, well, people are away, going to whatever. I mean, I'd rather have at least 3 people playing, and then just making sure we have a session. So, all right. I don't think that we're meeting next week, and I don't think we're meeting after that because of the USA's July 4th weekend. So I think we're not meeting until, I don't know, whatever the hell the next date is. But anyway, whenever that is, all right? Happy gaming to you all until that next session. And, start thinking about,
It's
where
the
you're going to go
12th.
next. Yes.
It's
Yes.
the 12th.
So start thinking about where you're going to go next for the investigations. All right.
Mhm.
And again, yes.
I'll write to you because I have an idea
Mm-hmm.
maybe for a custom move,
Oh, wonderful. Yes. Yeah. As
but
we
I'm
start
not
advancing
sure
more.
if it's interesting enough. But well, we'll see.
I mean, if it's interesting to you, let's just like take a look at it and see like
Yeah.
how you want to tweak it.
Maybe we can tweak it.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's
fine.
yeah.
Perfect. All right, great. So again,
Okay.
happy gaming to you all.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and
Thanks for running.
Yes.
absolutely. All
Thanks.
right, see you guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.